Can you hear
Hey,
me?
yes, I hear you. Finally, we got it hooked up.
Wow. 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 How's everything going, man?
Good. It's actually going really good, man. We had a couple of shows, and so far they went good. And then we have
Right.
another one on Saturday, and then I come back to the U.S.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you joined Bonfire in 2015, right?
Yes.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
How much of a difference playing United States than Germany?
I see that there's like in Germany and Europe in general, people are just so much more interested in like going to concerts and going out. Like here in Germany, every weekend there's festivals,
Right.
and they're in attendance from anywhere like 500 to 5,000,
Right.
depends, you know. They also have like Saturday we're playing what they call a Stadtfest,
Right.
which is basically like a state fair,
Right. Yeah.
but it's just for like a small area, like
Right.
like maybe Bavaria or whatever. There's like 13 states in Germany,
Right. Right.
so we're playing a state fest on Saturday. Stadtfest.
Would you ever think like you coming from Jersey City, New Jersey, to where you are now?
No, no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
never saw this coming at all.
No, I mean, yeah, you play in the club scene around here. I mean, I must have saw you 10, 15 times. I saw you at Melodic Rock Fest. Um,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
hung out, what, a year or so ago at Debonair when
yeah, yeah,
you were writing material for the next album at that time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and we got a bunch of stuff actually coming up too. We're actually going to do a documentary, which is
Wow.
really interesting, and it kind of needs to happen because not everyone really knows this whole story, and the story is actually kind of incredible,
Right,
and the ups and downs, and because this band originally started as a band called Curcumin
right.
in like 1972. Hans
Wow.
started this, and then it was Curcumin, and they had I think they put out like two records,
Uh-huh.
and they were signed, and the records are really cool. It's real old school heavy metal rock stuff,
Right.
and then they changed the name to Bonfire, and then so this story basically it's a story about Hans,
Uh-huh.
and about the band, and Hans also has a book coming out,
Right.
which is kind of cool. And we have a new album coming out. We're re-recording some old albums actually for the documentary.
Right.
So yeah, it's we're actually really busy.
Cool, cool. Now you had Fistful of Fire in 2020, which you wrote most of that?
I did the lyrics. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
wrote the lyrics. Yeah,
Cool. Now, you also have, I guess, a new album, Roots, in 2021, which is a two-disc set.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We did it. We decided to do. We always kind of did these acoustic shows actually to just kind of fill space, and it's a fun thing just to do like
Right.
acoustic and something different. So we started recording this during the pandemic in 21 when everything was kind of closed down,
Right.
and it came out really cool. It's like all it's all Bonfire songs,
Right.
but they're from the full range of our history from the beginning to now,
Uh-huh.
and all done an acoustic version, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I enjoyed the album a lot,
Right.
and hopefully we get to tour with that album. That would be really cool.
Right. Right. Um,
Yeah.
you wrote a lot of the stuff on that disc, the second one, I
On
guess. The,
on Roots.
yes.
No, actually, those because some of them are old songs. So the older stuff, I only started writing since "Bite the Bullet" album. I
Right.
started writing the lyrics.
Right.
So
Because I
I
was
did
looking.
like
Go
I
ahead.
think I did three albums so far.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because I was
Yeah.
reading some of the credits on the Roots, and I guess disc number two gave you credit on some of the songs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there's a couple that are newer ones.
Right.
So those of course I wrote the lyrics, but the older ones, I didn't write those lyrics, so I wasn't in the
Right.
band yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, what do you miss about the United States since you're over in Germany now?
Well, during this whole pandemic thing, it was kind of like I don't know. I kind of got depressed because we had like I was supposed to move to Ireland, and in like May 2020.
Right.
And everything just totally, we had a big tour set up, all kinds of plans, and everything got canceled.
Right.
So we didn't get to do anything.
Right. Yeah.
And we just sat, and it just kept going and dragging on. And I'm like, do I still want to go back? Like, I feel like I've accomplished a lot and done played, big shows and stuff. And there's no more of that like dream, like, oh, I wish I could go tour Europe, or I wish I could go play Madison Square Garden, like that's my dream to achieve that. And now I don't feel like I have that anymore. I mean, I enjoy what I do and I love what I do, but I don't have that, like, I feel like there's nothing really left for me to like say, like, oh, I really want to do that, now I just enjoy doing it. And it's kind of, I feel like it's my life. So that's why I keep doing it. And it was strange to be home my last show was 2019.
Right. Yeah.
So I went through these ups and downs of like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my life? Where is it going? And so this little trip to just come back here, I've been here for a week now.
Right.
And it really is awesome.
Right.
I remember everything that, it all just came like flooding back to me. Right. And I had a day off yesterday. I went to go visit one of my friends in the Ulm area. And so we had like a nice day, and we went and had lunch, and it was cool, And so it's just awesome to be back here, and it's awesome to be back on the stage. And I know it's what I want to do, Right. I want to keep doing it, Yeah. So it's actually kind of cool.
Wow. Do you feel like you finally reached success in Bonfire? You played a lot of bands, in Jersey, and like Easy Livin, Reece, and, stuff like that, which are established bands, but
yeah.
Like Bonfire.
Yeah. Bonfire is a little more established. I mean, they're not established in the United States, but here in Germany and certain parts of Europe, it's a known band. Right. I wouldn't say we're the top. We're not as big as the Scorpions,
right?
Like that. Like we're not playing arenas, but the band is known. And when we play shows, we have good turnouts. So it's actually good. I mean, I would like it to get bigger.
Right.
And I would love to have, that's part of the idea with the documentary, is that we are going to come to the United States, and we're going to do some shows in the US.
Right.
And that's the plan, and actually it's about surviving. Right. Because it's been through, we don't really want to do like an Anvil, like, the story of Anvil and all that stuff. Yeah. This had some real ups and, gold records, and then there was downs because Hans suffers from bipolar manic depression. Right. So there was times in the band and in the band's history where that kind of affected things. Right. Yeah. And it even affected us in 2018. So there's parts of that story that need to be told. Right. And no matter what, he just wants to keep going. So it's like a story of survival, right. And that's basically what the documentary is going to be. It's going to be from the beginning till now, where we're still going, and everything's still going, and hopefully gets bigger than it was before. Right.
Now, living in Germany now, or wherever you're living, because you said you want to move to Italy and stuff like that, or whatever, Ireland. Yeah, I think you said.
I'm moving to Ireland.
Yeah. What's the best thing about living abroad?
Well, it's kind of a different atmosphere. Right. And different places are a little bit different, and there's a lot more history. Like yesterday, I went to go visit my friend, so we're walking to go get lunch, and there's a big cathedral, that was built in like 1300s. Wow. And some of the older buildings are still around from like 1200 and 1300. So you get to see a lot more of that. There's a lot. Everything's a little bit more slower paced. Right. There's not like, especially here in Germany, I've seen people just leave bicycles out in front. Right. And, they're there for weeks. Nobody touches it. If you did that by my house in Jersey, it'd be gone in 2 days. 2 minutes.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's just a different attitude. I guess there's more of a community attitude here,
Right.
and I don't know. It's more like, dog eat dog in New York City, of course,
Right. Yeah.
and here it's more like, everybody's on the same team and
Right. Yeah.
stuff like that. So I kind of like that, and I like the living. I like the scenery and the history. It's always awesome. I'm kind of into history and stuff, so
Right.
so when I go places, I always try to check things out when it's possible,
Right.
and so I like all that, and the music scene is so much more. I don't want to say it's more alive, but it's just more common, as opposed to, like, okay, at a casino or something, they
Right.
might have things going on all the time and all that, but over here it's like there's towns that put on festivals and
Right.
soccer clubs and all these different
Right.
things, and some festivals have been going on for 100 years. Of course, not the type of festival where you got all these lights that we have now, but
Right. Yeah.
it did start out as a festival 100 years ago, you
Right. Yeah.
know and we don't really have stuff like that in the US.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
So those are the kind of things I like.
The first thing when you get back to the United States, what are some of the things you do or go to eat or whatever?
Tail ham and egg sandwich. Of
None of
course,
that.
because that's the one thing. That's one other thing that over here is like there's not breakfast is totally different.
Right.
Like in the US, you'll get like a tail of ham and egg sandwich or a
Right. Yeah.
bacon and egg sandwich or something.
Yeah.
And over here, it's like they'll have like a tray of cold cuts and some
Right.
fruit
Uh-huh.
and some yogurt and some cheese, and people eat those type of things for breakfast usually, like
Right.
on a half of a piece of bread,
Right.
you know,
Wow. Uh-huh.
and where we're always like sandwich and drinks, and so
Yeah.
it's a little bit different stuff. So that's always one of the first things I always do is like get a tail ham and cheese sandwich,
Yeah.
salt,
Yeah.
pepper, ketchup.
I think I'll have one today. Yeah.
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 And the pizza here is actually really good.
Uh-huh.
But glasses with, the funny thing is, like, when you go to a restaurant or something and you'll order a Coke
Right.
and they'll bring it back with no ice in it,
Right.
usually,
Right. Yeah.
or if you're thirsty and you want water,
Right.
it took me a little while to learn that I had to ask for stilles Wasser, bitte. Because, otherwise you get like club soda, like
Oh, wow.
sparkling water.
Okay. Yeah.
And for me, and it's funny because I just had this conversation actually, because our drummer that we just had recently, Andre Hilgers,
Right.
he left the band, and we have somebody filling in now from the band Annihilator,
Right. Yeah.
Fabio Alessandrini,
Uh-huh.
and he lives in Italy,
Right.
and he's a little bit younger. But we were talking about that. I'm like,
Okay. We're good.
that was weird.
Yeah.
That was weird. I don't know what happened there.
It's
All of a sudden,
okay.
it just stopped.
It's cool.
I don't even remember so I was talking about with Fabio. So we were talking because we just got off the stage, and
Right.
he doesn't really speak German. He
Right.
lives in Italy, so he speaks Italian and English.
Right.
And the guys here speak German and English. So I tried to teach him a little bit of the German words like Bühne,
Right.
which means stage, and Spielen, which is playing. And
Right.
and so we started talking about water. And I always need to have still water, because otherwise, if I drink club soda, it just makes me more thirsty.
Right.
And he said it's the opposite for him, because he's always been drinking sparkling water.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when he drinks still water, it like
Uh-huh.
makes him more thirsty.
Wow.
And So I don't know what that's all about, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's something weird. I don't know.
So you're working on new material at this time?
Yeah, yeah. We're working on recording. We're working on the documentary. Hans is working on his book. We have some shows lined up this year. It's not so many shows. Like we were just supposed to play
Right.
the Hard Rock Hell Festival in the UK, I
Uh-huh.
think on the 18th of this month.
Right.
And this was already rescheduled from the year before,
Uh-huh.
or maybe even 2020. I'm not sure. So this is like the second or third time it's getting rescheduled. So now it got rescheduled to 2023 again.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of this type of stuff going on. And some shows that we're playing now were festivals that were rescheduled from 2020 or 2021.
Right.
So yeah, so there's a lot of that going on. But we will do a new album, a completely new album, sometime in the summer of next year.
Right. Yeah.
But we're shooting for January for like the book and the documentary and these 3 re-recorded albums.
Right.
That's what we're looking for. That's what we're shooting for.
When you play a live show, is there anything specific that you ask for backstage or in your dressing room or food?
Yeah, we always have Jägermeister,
Uh-huh.
and it's become like a little tradition. We do like a shot of Jägermeister before we go on stage.
Right.
So we always get that on our rider, and we have Jack Daniels and red wine and white wine and beer. And I mean, that's one of the other things that I've noticed, except for like really big shows in the
Right.
US, over here, they treat you a lot better, like in the dressing rooms.
Right.
Like the catering and everything is much better. Like when we show up to a show, well,
Right.
especially when we're headlining, and it's probably the same for some bands in the US. But we'll show up to the venue and they'll already have some food for us, like like little snacks and some little sandwiches and stuff and drinks.
Right.
And then we have a time that's set for an actual dinner that they provide for us.
Right.
And so everything is kind of always, you get whatever you need, kind of, and they're very hospitable.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good.
How's it
I
feel
enjoy it a
like?
lot.
How's it feel like? I mean, playing shows here and then going there, and the fans over there. What does it feel
Yeah,
like when you have to give like autographs and stuff like that?
it's great. I always love it's. I appreciate that people want my autograph and take pictures and stuff. And it's funny because it happens a lot more here. And people know, because obviously the band is much more known in Germany than in the US.
Right.
So in the US, they're like, "Oh, what band you in?" And I'll say Bonfire, and most people are like, "Oh yeah, no, I never heard of you," But over here, it's like, "Oh, my mother was a big fan of you," and
Right. Yeah.
"Oh yeah, I know the band. Oh wow, you're in Bonfire. Wow, oh."
Right. Yeah.
So it has a lot more history here than over there. So it's kind of weird coming here and not being accustomed to what Bonfire actually was to people here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I didn't know that before until I actually got in the band, and then I realized what it was.
Right.
So it's kind of cool and lucky for me, I guess. Yeah.
How about when you come back to the United States? Do you ever play any shows here without Bonfire, like other bands?
No, actually, I started to kind of was thinking about doing that, but then it's like it's so much work, and then when something comes up, I like to be really rehearsed for shows and stuff. It's one thing like, oh, come and play a song or something,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I like to kind of rehearse it if it's possible, but with this, sometimes there's so much stuff going on and so many things that I don't want to take my focus off this music and put it on that music and then back.
Right.
I mean, some people played in so many cover bands and learned so many songs that
Right.
it's easy for them,
Uh-huh.
But for me, it's like, I have to I want to learn the song perfectly and I want to play it perfectly. So I spend time usually working on the songs.
Right.
And especially our own songs, and I want to make sure that everything's right and stuff before I get with the band. So I mean, with the band, we hardly have any rehearsals at all. So
Right.
you have to come prepared already done your homework, you know. You can't just show up and not know anything or figure it out at rehearsal. It's like you need to know it as soon as you get here. So so that's the kind of thing. Even like these shows, you know, with, like I would say with Andre, we had no rehearsal when he came in as a drummer.
Right.
Also with the drummer before him, we had no rehearsal, just come up on stage and he's in the band, you know.
Right.
And same with the singer. We didn't really have any rehearsal with him. He just came up as the singer to fill some dates. And he was just, it just kind of fit. So he ended up staying, but there was no rehearsal. So everybody's got to come prepared, you know.
Right.
Otherwise it doesn't work because there's no time for learning it now, you know. So
What's the biggest adjustment you had to go through, you know, moving over to Germany and playing in you know, Bonfire?
well, I mean, I still live in Jersey, so I'm actually coming back. But I mean, it was kind of like an adjustment in the beginning because I needed. Now I understand a lot more German, and people actually do. A lot of people speak English, and I would say that that's really like more of an international language.
Right.
I don't know why, but for some reason it is. And especially in Germany here, I think, you know, all the people learn, I guess, since World War II, people here in Germany kind of learn English in school.
Right.
So everybody could kind of speak a little bit of English, maybe not so great. There's some people who don't speak any English, but now my German's gotten so good from being around so long because I've been in the band now for 7 years. So I understand a lot of stuff. And, you know, we even have some little jokes on some of the albums. You know, when I first started coming here, Hans would talk to me and his English is good, but, you know, he'd be saying, you know, oh, you need to take the pen and put it in the cup, you know, and he might not know the word for cup. So he say, you know, oh, so you take the pen and you put it in the Tasha. And so then he go, okay, so say Tasha, you know, and I couldn't do it.
Right.
So there was so many of these things, like, and some of them are silly, and some of them are like, you know, like dreibeinigen Hund means a three-legged dog. But, you know, sometimes the way I would say something like that, I might mispronounce some of the word. Right. And to you, it might sound the same. I might say Einbeinigen Hund.
Right.
And you say like, yeah, okay, that sounds kind of similar. But one was a three-legged dog and one is a one-legged chicken.
Oh.
so it's very different, you know.
Right.
So there is some stuff. There's like some extra bonus tracks where Hans kind of, I don't know, he went crazy on is it Fistful of Fire or Temple of Lies? I think it is. He did like a 19-minute version of this type of thing. So like he'll have the recordings. He would record me saying it. Right. So he'd say something like Buchsbaum Twinsler, which is like a moth that lives in a little pine tree. And he goes, so say it. And, you know, and I try to pronounce it and I can't pronounce it correctly. And they would all start laughing, you know. So it became a big joke, and we actually put that as a bonus track on albums. Wow. Oh. Yeah, so there, and he actually did it twice. He did it on Bite the Bullet. It was Friedensreich Hundertwasser. And then we did Friedensreich Hundertwasser 2, Return of the Buchsbaum Twinsler.
Wow. I know you just learned when we hung out at the Debonair, you know, a couple of years ago. You were actually talking a little bit of German to us. You were just learning it at that time. It seems.
Yeah, I'm just trying to learn it, and that's the hard part because when I go back, then I kind of lose what I started to learn.
Right.
You know, like I get it more here, and now it's been a really like 2 years since I came back. So, but now it's. I don't know. It started to come back really fast and really easy. Right. So that was kind of good, you know. And I know a lot of the main words and stuff. So I could go into a restaurant and order food, and I could look at a menu and kind of know generally what it is and how to take a train and travel around and stuff. So I can manage myself now.
Right.
But in the beginning, I couldn't do that.
Uh,
So yeah, so it's kind of funny. And if you try to speak German, then
right.
they'll immediately start talking English if they can speak English.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, it's just. But some people, when you're really bad and you can't speak any German at all and just English and
Right.
stuff, some people, I don't know, maybe they feel offended or something, and
Right.
they'll just be like, "Oh, I don't know what you're saying," you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's here too. You know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess.
You know? I could just imagine you as a young schoolboy, just envision yourself where you are now. You know.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I never would have expected that I would be here
Right.
doing this in this band. You know,
Yeah.
it's just something I never ever expected. And even when I started coming here to Germany, I actually came over first to be in Hans's solo band, Easy
Right.
Living. And me and David Reece at that point, we were working a lot together, and he brought me over here actually with him, you know,
Right.
because we did a lot of stuff together. And he said, you know, you're definitely, whatever I do next, you're coming with me. And you know, he got a call from Hans for the solo band, so that's how I ended up here.
Yeah. I remember
And
that. I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah, and that was like 2014,
Uh-huh.
2014.
Right.
So, you know, of course, I had to step up and do my part and all that. So, you know, I'm still here, and Dave is now living in Italy, doing his solo career,
Right.
and I'm still in Bonfire. And
Cool.
pretty much everybody I was in Easy Living with is no longer involved in this stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So.
So, with all this stuff, do you have any goals in mind that you'd like to conquer now?
Yeah, I really would like to get Bonfire to the US. Definitely to do some shows. I mean, we're planning on doing at least one,
Right.
most likely at the Whiskey or something, just
Right.
because you know, we also want to film it for the documentary. And that's a place where Bonfire, when they first got signed,
Right.
I think they were signed to RCA or something,
Hmm.
or yeah, I don't remember what they were signed to, but or maybe it was MCA, and they came over to the US, and that's where they were living in LA, and they did some writing in New York and New Jersey,
Right.
actually. You know, they met up with the guys from Skid Row and all these different bands, and I think Scott Metaxas also.
Right. Uh-huh.
Um, and they did some writing and stuff like that. So the idea is to go back to where they were living in California, in LA, and you know, they used to hang out at the Whiskey, so we do a show there.
Right.
You know, and maybe, I mean, I'd like to make it more shows, but it's so expensive, and you know, for us here, it's easy and it
Right.
doesn't cost anything, and we know we're going to have a successful run. You
Right.
know, to get all the visas and spend all that money to go to the US, and we're not sure of what it's going to be. We don't
Right.
know if it's going to be packed. We don't know if it's going to, you know, I find out like a lot of times, like when we're talking with people
Right.
in the industry, they'll be like, oh yeah, I know Bonfire, I know this,
Right.
I know that. But I think general people don't know it as much because it kind of didn't, once it got signed over there,
Right.
it was only really happening for maybe like a year or something. They were
Right.
on MTV a couple times, and then it just, I don't know, it fell apart. Hans actually ended up getting kicked out of the band. It was his band,
Wow.
and he got kicked out of the band, and then he was back in the band. So there was a little space there
Hmm.
when they needed to really be at their height in the US, and
Right.
that's when they kind of fell apart, and then they regrouped like a couple of years later, like maybe 2 years later,
Right.
and then they continued on over here, but not there. So
Right.
so that's kind of why I think that it never really made it over there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Ronnie, congratulations on Bonfire. Big step up in the world and in the world of music for you guys. And you know,
Thanks, man.
seeing you in shows here and over there, it's amazing. It's like a
Yeah.
dream come true. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really been a great life. I feel blessed, definitely, you know, that I can do what I love, and you know, live this kind of life. Like, you know, it's kind of surreal in a way because you know, I know some friends who came over here for shows, or they do shows and they love it and everything and how cool it is. And to be doing it constantly as like, you know, a band that's already established here is just, it's awesome. Yeah. You can't imagine, Brian.
Oh, I bet. I bet. You know. Well, good luck, and I'll see you when you get home.
All right. Thanks, man. I'll be home soon.
You want to say anything to the fans out there?
Yeah. Check it out when this documentary does come out. Hopefully it comes out by the beginning of next year. And hopefully we get to come play for you guys in the US, which will be great.
Thanks a lot, Ronnie.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye.
All right.